Yo, what's goody world? We are back. It is Nolo and T.
And T.
In the place to be, man. We back with our homie, one of my goats, Joey Diaz, and how Joey Diaz accidentally kidnapped the drug dealer.
I just read it. Like, what?
People been in the comments. T, I'm gonna tell y'all, T works all day, so T don't be on YouTube reading comments. She don't. It takes a lot to get T to do these videos, and so she don't read the comments. A lot of people told us we should do how he kidnapped the drug dealer.
Okay.
That's what everybody, and I hope this is the right clip. It's a long clip, so we're gonna jump right into this, even though I've already been talking for a minute. You ready, babe?
Yes.
Let's rock.
So you get arrested for robbing a drug dealer, but you kidnap someone during the robbery, so you get arrested for the kidnapping.
No, I didn't know it was kidnapping. I thought kidnapping.
What the? Okay.
So you get arrested for robbing a drug dealer, but you kidnap someone during the robbery, so you get arrested for the kidnapping.
No, I didn't know it was kidnapping. I thought kidnapping was I got to bring you to my house, send your uncle a note, and tell him I got your ear, and give me $250,000. That's what I thought kidnapping was.
Okay, so what was this?
See, the problem was there was no Law and Order. See, when Law and Order came on, now I know everything I could do and can't do. Right? I'm a Law and Order motherfucker. Right? Not a Law and Order SVU. I'm not a tree jumper. I'm a Law and Order. I like to steal, do drugs, and fucking whatever. So I didn't know what kidnapping was. So I get to Boulder. I'm trying to get my life together. I join up for classes at the University of Colorado.
Okay.
I'm not at Colorado Mountain College no more. I'm at the University of Colorado with a GED.
Let's go.
No college, no high school diploma. They were like, yeah, we'll give you whatever you want. I'm paying for classes. They're not even doing no background checks.
Yeah.
And one day I'm working and I'm doing coke. And I started selling cars. I was making great money selling cars and doing coke at night and taking 2 classes a week at night. And one day I'm at the Subaru place. I'm selling Subarus like a mother. And one of the guys that got fired, he got fired for something. He came back. And I go, what the fuck you been? He goes, I got fired. And he had like a black eye. And I go, what's the black eye from? And he goes, it's a long story. I go, we got nothing but time. And he goes, listen to what happened. He goes, I got a DUI. I crashed against a tree. And when they brought me to the hospital, the pharmacy door was open. So he broke into the pharmacy. He took all the pills and cocaine. He jumped out a window. And they caught him like 2 days later.
Wow.
So now he's going to do time. So he goes, I'm staying with this guy, and he's got 2 kilos of coke. I'm going to steal it from him, and so you can help me sell it. And then I'm going to move to Arizona so I don't have to do this time. And I'm like, I'm living in Boulder. It's fun. I got a nice girlfriend. You know, I got a dog. I got a job. But my friends are in New York City.
Getting it in.
Getting it on.
Yeah.
They're coming to the city on the weekends. They're going to hunt the mountain on the weekends to ski and snort. They were telling me they threw a bag of coke out on a Friday.
Ski and snort is crazy.
Getting it in.
Getting it on.
Yeah.
They're coming to the city on the weekends. They're going to hunt the mountain on the weekends to ski and snort. They were telling me they threw a bag of coke out on a Friday, and when they came back, all the deer were dead on Sunday. You know, it was like, I'm out here with these fucking yokels skiing, trying to be a fucking American. And my friends are lighting their balls on fire. Their parents are calling me, have you heard from my son? I'm like, no. My friends' parents are calling me in Colorado going, I haven't seen Anthony in a week. He went out to get a pack of cigarettes. He's never come back. I'm like, dog, they're in Hunt the Mountain, getting it on. So I was like, you know what? This girl is great, but she's not going to be my wife. I'm going to help this dude do it. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to help him. I'm going to rob him.
You're going to rob the guy who asked you.
Wow. Yeah.
You're a lunatic,
because
Joey.
he couldn't, there was no way he could do nothing.
Okay.
So I called my crazy friend here, and he couldn't make it out. He was fucking unloading planes somewhere in Colombia. I called one of my crazy friends here. So I had to go to a guy that I worked with at an auto body shop before I sold cars. He was like a biker. You know, he had everything. This is why I don't like modern times. He had everything. He had the tattoo, the sunglasses, the Harley bicycle, anything to be cool. the pit bull,
Yeah.
tinted windows, the loud stereo. He had everything to be cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I got to use somebody. I can't take this guy down by myself. So I asked him, and he had a problem. He used to go to strip clubs. He was in love with a stripper, right? But I mean, in love with a stripper. And she left her husband, but she wouldn't. She danced at a nude club, but she couldn't sleep with my friend Steve until she got a divorce. So she wanted him to pay 20 grand for the divorce. So this guy wanted the pussy, so that was his motivation. In fact, she moved into his house and he had to sleep on the couch while she slept on the bed by herself.
Wow.
She had no intention of fucking this retard.
She just wanted that divorce
She just
money.
wanted that divorce
Oh,
money.
my God.
Played.
She's like, I'm a Catholic. I can't sleep with a man if I'm still married. And he's like, well, you dance naked every night and put your asshole in people's faces. What's the fucking difference, you know?
Wow.
So that was our connection.
So this is the guy that you're basically bringing on to go rob this dude.
Yeah.
And you already know he's a goofy.
I knew it was a goofy, but in my cocaine mind, just what I had going on, I wanted to believe this was going to work.
Yeah.
And then comes D-Day. In fact, I just got a root canal on Saturday on the tooth that the dentist fixed that morning before I kidnapped him. Because I had a dental appointment that morning. The dentist even said, I go, last time I worked on this tooth was November 18th, 87. He's like, that's interesting. How did you remember that? I go, that's the day I kidnapped the guy. He just kept drilling. So I went to the dentist. And I remember calling him and going, we'll be over there with the money, you know, to buy the 2 kilos from you. He was going to be my partner. I was a middleman. He was going to buy the coke.
Let me just stop and say this is amazing. Oh, my bad, ring going off too. This is amazing. I just had to stop and say that.
His stories are always
This
amazing.
is already amazing to me. This is already amazing.
Kent, all right? So I was the middleman. I was going to bring him over there. They were going to sample it, and then we're going to go back to Steve's house, and Steve was going to give him the money, and we're going to rob the coke. We weren't going to give him any money. We're going to put him on a bus to Arizona, give him like 10 grand, and get the fuck out.
Oh, you were going to give him a couple bucks?
Yeah. It wasn't going to be a complete robbery with kicking and all of that stuff. It was just going to be a simple thing. Bella wasn't a heavy, I wasn't a heavy, and Steve wasn't a heavy. Steve got so greedy, he fucked it up. At the intro, he pulled out the guns.
Wow.
Okay, so real quick, break down the setup. Steve is, which one is the
Before we
Hell's
do a
Angel?
setup,
Yeah.
can I
Okay,
slip and
go
pee
set
again?
this robbery up for us. You have the
I
Hell's
didn't know
Angel.
how much time I had, so I didn't want to get into something that
Oh,
was...
you got all the time in
Yeah,
the world.
Okay.
we got all day, baby.
Okay, so you have, who's the Hell's Angel? What's his name?
His name was Steve.
Okay,
he
so you
wasn't the
have
Hells
Steve.
Angels. He was like
He
a fucking...
wannabe.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who's the mark?
Kent.
Kent. Okay, so you and Steve go to meet up with Kent, and then break it down. So the idea
So, okay,
is...
I go to the dentist's office. This is the whole story. I go to the dentist's office. I go home. I call Kent. It was supposed to go down at 1 o'clock. It's about 11 o'clock now. I call Kent, and he tells me, come pick me up. So I go to his house. And the weird thing was when I went to his house, I noticed it was across the street from the halfway house. There was a halfway house in Bold. And I looked at it, I go, that's fucking weird. He lives across the street from the halfway house. So I went upstairs. He's like, you want to do a line of coke before we go? I go, yeah. He goes, we'll go over there. I'll give him a sample. He'll give me the money, and then I'll come back here and get the coke, and we'll all disperse. You give him back the coke, and well, that's it. Okay. So when I'm there, he shows me a grinder. He was doing coke out of a grinder. The grinder was filled with coke, and there was an ounce of coke in a baggie in the drawer. And he also showed me where there was 2 grand. He goes, I got 2 grand here. Okay, so, and I go, where's the coke? And he goes, in the ceiling. It was in one of those drop ceilings that you slide up. Okay. So when I get there, he shows me everything. And we do a couple lines. Then I get in the car and I drive him to where we're, like a 7-minute drive. We get to the house. As soon as we walk in, this motherfucker pulls his guns out. The deal was, let's get everything going. When you go back to get the coke, that's when you rob us both.
Yeah.
That's when I pull a
You're
gun.
innocent.
Even if you're with him, I'm going to rob you. I'm going to smack you.
Yeah.
Just so he'll never say, well, how did he know?
Yeah.
He fucking smacked me.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought I was... So when I walked in there, he pulled guns on both of us. And then he pulls the gun out and goes, Joey, tie him up. And I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. So I'm like, what the fuck? So now we got this kid, and the kid's like, Joey, what the fuck? I put him in the room. I fucking go out and talk to him. I go over there. I didn't tell him what a Coke was. I told him that there was shit over there. I wanted to see what he was going to come back with. Sure enough, he played into it. He came back. He said there was only $200 in an 8-ball. But his mother was a big-time realtor, and we were in one of her houses.
Hold on, did everybody just get that?
Wow.
You know there's 2,000. He tells what is the guy's name, Steve? Steve to go about he doesn't tell him where the Coke is, the 2,000 and then the ounce. He goes, there was only 200. So he's trying to get over on you, that son of a bitch.
So now, when he comes back, he goes, there was only 200, maybe like an 8-ball. So I go, really? So he's like, what are we going to do? Where is it? And I don't know, but I tell you what. I go, I gotta go. I go, you just tried to fuck with me. No, I didn't. I'm telling you, there was more. So we got into a little argument. He goes to me, if you leave, I'm gonna shoot you. And I knew this guy was gonna shoot me. I just knew. I go, I've never been wrong with that kind of stuff about judging a man like that. I was
mean, if you're wrong once,
I was around savages.
Yeah.
I know if this guy's gonna shoot me or not.
Yeah.
And as I walk to the car, he don't shoot me. And I go outside, and I got a gun under my tire that I had from my Aspen days. I had a beautiful 9mm I wasn't giving up. So right there, I was like, you know what, man? I've always wanted to shoot a motherfucker in the leg. Like, I've always wanted to shoot a motherfucker in the leg, like just to see their reaction and the whole thing. And I was like,
usually out.
And I was ready to shoot. And I go, you know what, man? I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. And I got in the car and I went back to Vela's apartment. And I fucking kicked the door down.
Vela's?
The kid that was the mark.
Oh, Steve.
Steve was the thief.
Kent. Sorry, Kent.
So Vela's the mark.
Yeah.
So I said, fuck this. I'm going to go back and get the Coke. He said he didn't get it. I knew exactly where the Coke was. So I ran back, fucking walked past the doorman. The doorman's like, hey. I go, I was just here. And I basically went upstairs with no keys, and I kicked that fucking door down like a gorilla. And then I jumped up and I ripped that fucking ceiling down because it was a drop ceiling, so you could just tear it down. I fucking ripped it down, heart's beating, my hands are bleeding from fucking pulling it down, and 2 bundles land in the middle, wrapped with Colombian newspaper. I took those motherfuckers and I ran the fuck out of there. And across from the halfway house, there was a newspaper thing where you put a quarter in, open it, and take the newspaper out. Guys, look underneath. Whenever you see those, look underneath. In the 80s, that's how we used to drop off Coke. There's a bottom compartment in there that you never look at. So I put the kilos of Coke there because I thought the cops were on me. And I called my brother. He went over there, picked up the kilos, and took them to Aspen.
Wow.
I kept like maybe an ounce for the night because I wanted to party, see what the fuck was going on. That night, 8 o'clock, they knock on my door. Tidwell knocks on my door again. He's got Vela in the trunk of a car. And he goes, what am I going to do with him? I go, I don't know. Figure it the fuck out. Not my problem anymore. You tried to rob me. Get the fuck out of here. And he's like, I need that $20,000 for my girlfriend. She needs a divorce. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. He goes, I got another guy. There's a guy that's got a pound of hash. Let's go rob him. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I went to a bar, had a couple drinks, snorted some Coke, and went home, not thinking anything. And the next morning, I'm sleeping on the couch, and the guy knocks on my door, and he goes, bro, the dealership is surrounded by cops. They're coming over here to get you. Get the fuck out of here. One of the lot guys. And I got I didn't have a car then. I went across the street and called my girlfriend and said, listen, the cops are looking for me. Blah, 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 blah. And as I'm across the fucking street, I'm looking at the cops breaking into my house.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at this shit. Wow. I'm like, wow. And after about 20 minutes, I go, holy shit, I forgot my weed. Right? I'm like, God damn it.
I got the weed.
I forgot my fucking weed. And now they only left the cop outside in front of my house to watch. So I went back.
No.
And I went to the backyard to get, because I had some chocolate Thai weed that was sent to me from here. My friends used to send me chocolate Thai weed.
So while the cops are in your fucking apartment.
There's only one cop outside now. He's just waiting for me to come back.
Sneak into
my house to get the fucking ounce of Coke, to get my little
Thai
reefer. Yep.
Did you get it?
Fuck yeah. And the pipe and my lighter.
In the lighter?
Fuck yeah. 'Cause I had it all in a little bag. You know, you have one of those little purple bags. You got your weed, your lighter.
Okay.
And then I hid out at my girlfriend's for 2 days, and I thought about it. I fucked with them a little bit. The story had come out in the paper that this guy had gotten kidnapped and shit, but they were still looking for another suspect on the loose. They didn't give my name. So I waited for 2 days. I'll never forget, I went to the movie. I went to the video store, and there were brand new movies. Lethal Weapon was a new release, and there was Above the Law with Steven Seagal. And I watched them, and I'm like, you know what, man? They got America's Most Wanted. I'm never going to get away with this. So now it was Thursday, and I go, I need more weed. So I got to go into Boulder anyway and get weed. I might as well call these cops and see what they're looking for me for. So I went down to Boulder. I got my bag of weed. I got my 2 videos. And there was a Kmart and an Albertsons. And they were across the street from one another. So I called Boulder police from Albertsons, or from Kmart. And I'm like, hey, this is Jose Diaz. You guys are looking for me. And they're like, we got to put you on hold. They were tracing me. So I kept hanging up on them. And they're like going, why are you hanging up? I go, because I don't want to be put on hold. This is Joe Diaz. I want to talk to the detective in charge of my case. They're like, we're going to put you on hold. 10 seconds, I'd hang up. Then finally, the detective answered. And he goes, we just want to talk to you. Where are you? And I go, I'm at Albertsons. But I was really at Kmart.
Yeah.
And he goes, we just want to talk to you. I go, okay, I'll be at Albertsons. I hung up the phone, and I went back to my car. I'm sitting there rolling the joint, and I see a SWAT truck come in with other Boulder police, and I'm like, they're not looking to talk to me. They're looking to fucking kill me. And I'm like, fuck this. I told my girlfriend what I saw. She goes, just turn yourself in. I'm like, fuck. That means I'm going to miss the wedding. And she goes, what wedding? I go, Don Johnson is marrying Sheena Easton tonight on Miami Vice. I've been waiting all year for this fucking wedding. I hate weddings. But Don Johnson's getting married to Sheena Easton. I got to catch this tonight.
Oh, my God.
And listen, guys, in my retarded mind, this is how fucked up drugs are. In my retarded mind, I remember having her drop me off at the police station next morning and me going to her, here's $30, get Chinese food. I'll be home. I should be out of here by an hour. I'm just going to walk in there and tell these cops whatever, some fucking story, and I'll be home in an hour. And I'll never forget walking upstairs. They told me to ring a buzzer. Who is it? Jose Diaz. They go, buzz me. And I went in, dog. When I went in, I was bum rushed. All I heard was, I had cops all over me. Get on the floor, get on the floor, get on the floor. You're being charged with kidnapping 1, kidnapping 2, aggravated robbery, accessory to a felony, second-degree burglary, and fucking crime of violence. My bail was $50,000 fucking dollars. I'm like, what are you motherfuckers talking? And that's when I'm like, I'm doing your job. You fucking degenerates. What the fuck? So they talked to me for a while. They asked me questions. I wouldn't say shit. I'm like, listen, man, he was selling something. I don't know what happened, blah, blah, blah. But then I ended up, let me tell you what really happened. That fucking idiot got caught, Steve, got caught with Kent in the trunk. He got caught driving without his headlights on.
What an idiot.
Wow.
That's how I got pulled. That's how I ended up in this. But I learned a lesson. What a tangled web we weave when we tangle to deceive. This was that all over again. This was this. It just didn't stop, you know. And then I turned myself in. I had this fucking bail. They thought, and then a fucking Cuban kid was going to the University of Colorado, and his car was found splattered with blood. And they looked in his police records. They looked in his records, and they realized the kid was going to Miami on the weekends and selling coke. They found his car with they never found his body again, but his car was blood splattered. So they were thinking it was me. There was another guy. Yeah. So anybody who got tied into a drug rip, now they were looking at me. There was another dude that was snorting coke one night, and the cops knocked on his door, and he jumped off the fucking balcony and broke both his legs. Somebody went to rob him. He thought it was the cops, but it was really 2 thieves. So now they were questioning me about that shit. It was a fucking nightmare. Like 1 minute I was fucking, just in trouble for one thing. Now they're looking at me for fucking 30 things. And when I went to the bail hearing, they're like, he's part of a Cuban crime culture. Syndicate, and I'm like, fuck. I thought I was fucking dead, Andrew Schultz.
Why didn't you go to Aspen? Why'd you turn yourself in?
Because
you had the
what
2
would a
keys.
bro, you're going to run the rest of your fucking life.
You don't want to run.
And he didn't think the charges would be that bad because he didn't know he kidnapped
You're
you.
going to run the rest of your fucking life. Do you have any idea? I read an article when I was a kid about a guy who bit a girl at a wedding, at a dance.
Yeah.
Her and her boyfriend tried to beat him up, and he bit the girl, and something happened. This guy lived a fucking, like, that was the only, he never even got a jaywalking ticket for 40 years. He got a heart attack. He got taken to the hospital. They fingerprinted him. And they figured that was the guy from fucking his childhood. And now the guy's got to go to jail when he's 50, when he's lived an exemplary life, you know, except that mistake he made. I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, you
that's
didn't
a
want to feel
nightmare.
chased your whole life.
I was going to turn myself in and just deal with it.
Yeah.
Now it's to get out of there, and then I'll make the decision. Just turn yourself in and then see what they're looking, what they're holding on to, and then you make your decision. So I sat there for a few weeks. I had my girlfriend. Her parents hated me, but he was a straight-up gangster, the dude.
What, the pops?
Her father was a lieutenant colonel in the fucking army and shit, career guy, had ties to the CIA. Didn't really like me, but when I got arrested, my girlfriend told him what happened. And he goes, you know what? I'll go talk to him. And he came in for a guy I never thought liked me. We ended up having a pretty good conversation. He asked me a few questions.
And were you honest with him about what happened?
Very honest, because I learned early on, if you do something and somebody's looking to help you, and I tell people this all the time, I love you to death, Andrew. I'll do anything for you. And if you guys don't understand what I mean by that, I'll do anything for you. But do me a fucking favor. When you tell me who did it to you, make sure you don't miss a detail.
Yeah, because you're bringing me into this web now.
Just don't miss a fucking detail. Tell me the truth. I don't give a fuck what you did. But if we're right here, we're going to go back in there. That's the type of person I am. I don't care. Just don't miss. I don't care if you murder somebody.
So you
Don't
opened
miss a
up
detail.
completely to the pops.
To the
And then-
pops. And he was asking me questions. And he was like, I'm going to get you out of here. So then he wrote some letters. And within like a week, I got out. My bail went from $50,000 to like $3,000. And then, you know, I started talking to him more and more, and I started getting my life together little by little, and I got a job at Hertz as a manager trainee, fucking like 40 grand a year to start. Some guy I knew hooked me up with it, and the guy liked me so much, he called me into his office one day, and he goes, listen, I know what you're going through, so I put a call in for you. I got you a job in Hertz in Panama. They'll change your name, they'll give you an ID, and you could be a manager down there.
Whoa.
Wow.
And I was like, fucking Panama with Noriega? Fuck you.
Oh shit! Why was I thinking Panama, Florida?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
initially.
Panama. Yeah. That's homeland. That's where we're from.
Yeah. And I'm like, again, then we're back in the same fucking boat.
Yeah.
You know, someday you're going to do well, and this is going to come back to bite you in the fucking ass, you know? And I just did everything I could to stay out of there. I got into the University of Colorado. I mean, I got into the university.
Yeah.
Like, not like continuing ed. Like, they told me I had too many credits that I needed to transfer. So man, it was sad because I tried to get in there as Joey Diaz, but they're like, no can do. But
Jose Diaz.
if your name was Jose Diaz,
We got some room.
We'll fucking put feathers in your asshole every day. Because we ain't got enough brothers and Cubans up in this motherfucker. That's why if you got a kid that needs to go to college and you ain't got the money, just have him marry a Mexican and send him to the University of Montana. mucho pesos. You understand me?
And whatever happened with Kent, the guy that got tied up?
Kent, the guy that got tied up, I'm in close contact with him now.
Really?
Yeah, I apologized to him on the podcast.
Oh, wow.
About 15 years. No, for years I kept calling him. Like, I got his... Listen, when I got out of jail and I was in the halfway house one night, I went to a bar to get some Coke, and Kent was there. And he goes, what are you doing out? And I go, Kent, come on, bro. You got anything? And he goes, yeah. What do you need? I go, grab a Coke. And as he's weighing it in the bathroom, he looks at me and goes, the last time I sold you Coke, you kidnapped me. And we're talking. I'm like, Kent, I'm sorry. I was having a bad day. And we talked. I bought him a fucking drink at the bar. We chit-chatted. Everything was beautiful. And then I disappeared. I got into comedy or whatever. 10 years later, he's on Facebook. So I started hitting him on Facebook. And I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? You know, fuck you. I realized what you did. You're a scumbag. This went on for like 2 years. And then I said, fuck it, I'm not going to hit him a lot. I'm just going to hit him on the anniversary.
Of the arrest?
Of the kidnapping. So every November 18th, I would go, Kent, what's going on? Go fuck yourself. Then I would go on Twitter and go, 22 years ago today, I kidnapped Kent Vella. He still won't talk to me. This went on for about 3 years. And then one time he gave me his number, and I called him, and he's like, I don't know if I should talk to you, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Kent, it was a long time ago, blah, blah. And I got him to agree to call into the podcast, and I apologized to him. And then after that, I kept like, Kent, I'm going to be in Tempe. Come to the show. Fuck you. You know,
Well, he moved
maybe.
to Arizona. He was serious about that.
He was serious. So about 3 times into it,
He actually showed up.
he showed up. I went to Tucson, though. He lives in Tucson. So I went to Tucson. He came to the show. I posted it. You can find it. After 33 years, I kidnapped this guy 33 years ago. Now we're friends. I send him money from time to time. He had problems with his mom.
Yeah.
I try to take care of him with his mom. Now he's moving up to New Mexico, Taos, New Mexico.
What happened to Steve and what happened to the 2 keys?
The 2 keys I sold. Steve ended up ratting me out. He ended up getting, because when he got arrested, he was on parole. And he got sentenced to 10 years.
Yeah, because he had the
sentenced-
body in the trunk.
Yeah.
I got sentenced to 4. I was really supposed to get sentenced to 6. But I wrote so many letters. My friends from grammar school, Jersey, got all these people to write letters. And again, if you ever get in trouble, if a judge has political aspirations, each of us know 250 people. When you die, God forbid, they're going to get you 250 mass cards. Each of us know 250 people. So if you ever get in trouble, write a letter to the judge, because that's 250 votes. So the more letters you write that judge, the more votes mean. Do you follow me? That's why whenever I got in trouble, I wrote a letter to the judge. When I got out of prison, I wrote a letter to that judge every month. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm detailing cars. I'm still broke. I'm still an idiot, but I'm giving it a try. You know, I just got into comedy. I wrote him letters. I got into stand-up comedy. I suck, but I'm going to try it. And then I went up in front of him 10 years later for something else, and he fucking went in my direction because I kept in touch with him. He knew the truth.
Built a relationship.
I built a relationship with the guy. So whenever you get in trouble, anything like that, you got to write letters to a judge and explain your situation and tell him what you're feeling, and most importantly, tell him what your intentions are with life. Even though I was snorting coke and I was robbing, well, when I got out of prison, I wasn't robbing at that. You know, I already knew what level of criminal I wanted to be at. For me to stay out and do comedy, I could still be a little criminal from time to time, but there's levels.
Yeah.
Like I could go into a Kmart, walk in and take like a fucking, those mats for your car.
Yeah.
Right? And you could just pick them up, walk them right to the return and go, my mother got me these, but I got a pair. And without a receipt, they give you $100 plus tax.
Wow.
Bro,
Like
that
you could
was-
always do that shit. That's how I got.
That
That's
was
what
the hustle I used to see.
That's what I did on the road. When I was on the road,
Yeah.
you don't have money for gas. You walk into a Kmart, pick up a fucking fishing rod and go, hi, my mother bought me this, but I can't use it. You have a receipt? Not really.
So you know how Kmart has the super long receipts? CVS has them as well?
Yes.
So if there's ever a trash, this is how you know crackheads are brilliant. So there is a trash can right outside the Kmart on Astor Place in Lafayette Street in New York. And the crackheads would wait for people to leave the Kmart with that long-ass receipt, and they'd throw it right in the garbage right when they leave. And they would take that receipt, and they'd look at the itemized receipt, and they walk right back in that fucking Kmart and pick up every single item and return every single item and get the cash for it. It was like they were asking to get robbed.
I saw that on the HBO doc.
HBO did a good job of it. It was
wow.
that. It was that Astor
Kmart.
Place one too. Yeah.
Closed
Dog,
down now.
I remember one day, it was like the 29th. I needed $400 for rent money.
Yeah.
$400. That's all I paid my rent in Boulder. I was a starving comic.
Yeah.
That's it. 1995, 96 maybe. And I see some guy pushing out lumber. I'm like, it was a lawnmower.
Okay.
And one of those trucks, like he had some guy pushing him. He's like, what are you gonna mow with this? And sure enough, I'm hungry, I need money, and I see the receipt just fly off the box.
Got him.
I go, holy shit.
Got him.
I run in to the Boulder Kmart, and I go for the thing, and I go, excuse me, sir, where's the C695? And he goes, we're all sold out of those. I'm like, fuck. Oop, there's another one in Longmont, Colorado. I got my car, went out to Longmont, and there it was. Picked it up, put the receipt on it. Guy gave me $400 plus tax. I have my rent and a gram of blow. You know what I'm saying? I remember one Christmas, I went into fucking, what's that? The toy.
These stories sound so familiar. I've done some crazy shit. They sound very familiar. Very familiar.
Minus the
chain.
drug part.
Minus the what?
minus
Yeah,
the
minus
coke.
the yeah. No
Minus
coke.
the
No
coke,
coke.
guys.
Yeah, no coke.
When I was
Toys R
there.
Us.
Toys R Us. They used to give you Jeffrey money.
Jeffrey money,
I
yeah.
would walk in there.
Yeah.
I would walk in there and take one thing. I remember I ended up leaving there with a bicycle for my daughter one time. I returned like a game of Monopoly.
Yeah.
And kept going back and returning it. And I had so many credits, I just like, give me a bicycle. And they gave me a bicycle. My daughter had a bicycle at the fucking house.
So you get arrested.
Fire. Hey, I got lost in that story, boy.
Right.
Hey, that's that. Hey, damn. Joey got some good ass stories on him, man. That was dope. I think he said there's a clip of him apologizing to the actual guy. We got to find that clip. We got to find that clip and react to that if it
Yeah,
actually
he said
exists.
it was on some podcast. Well, he told him to call into the podcast.
Yeah, so yeah. He said, I think he said we could find it. Hey, keep sending the Joey clips. That was fire. That was fire. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Nolo and T. We out. Peace.